right, welcome into another episode of the Goodman and Hummel podcast. I'm Jeff Goodman. He's Robbie Hummel. And I don't know where the hell you've been for the last 2 weeks. I mean, we didn't do one last week because it didn't fit into Robbie Hummel's schedule. I don't know what that means.
Well, some of us work. That's the first thing. You just chill and watch games. Second, the NCAA tourney gods were not kind to me. I was in Fort Worth.
Okay.
I had 0 of the teams that I had for the first weekend I had seen in person. So
0.
my workload was high.
Who'd you have? Who'd you have in Fort Worth?
Kansas, who I'd seen on TV. But I mean, like actually preparing to do the game for them.
Okay.
So Kansas, Texas Southern, had not seen them.
San Diego State and Creighton.
Yep. San Diego State, Creighton, Marquette, North Carolina, and then Baylor, and then a play-in, which the play-in, as someone who's doing the games, is hard because you have even less time because they could lose.
Yeah.
And because I had so much other work, I wasn't going to prepare for an extra team, so I had to wait until
but you got the Carolina Baylor game.
Yes.
I mean, the best game of the tournament to me.
Yeah, it was incredible. Now, the refs let them play in a manner that you don't usually let them see. But at the same time, North Carolina was abysmal against the press. And when Brady Manick got ejected, I'm telling you, it was Kevin Kugler and I, and you could feel it coming. You could feel he gets ejected. They make 2 free throws. They get the ball back. They drill a 3. It was a 5-point possession. They go on a 10-0 run in legitimately 58 seconds. I mean, you don't see that happen hardly at all. NBA,
and then it came down to like the mental toughness. Almost like you trusted Baylor. They got some momentum. You haven't trusted Carolina all year. And then I don't know about you, but when it got to overtime, I was like, this shit's over.
I was shocked. I was thinking game's over. There's no way Carolina, because at the same time, Caleb Love fouls out with 7 minutes to go. Carolina plays 6 guys, really.
Yep.
And all the momentum was with Baylor. Now, Baylor's also equally as banged up. Matt Meyer fouls out. So there was some things going against them.
Flagler's got a concussion, probably.
Yeah, Flagler just got absolutely obliterated, hit his head on the floor.
Yeah.
I just, at one point in the game, I'm looking at the Carolina guys on the court, and I'm looking at Justin McCoy, and I think Dontrez Styles, and the looks on these guys' faces of, if the ball comes to me, I've got to bring the ball up against this, was incredible. I mean, Justin McCoy on one possession caught the ball, 10-second counts going down. You could see it in his face. He's like, I've got to get the ball across half court. So he just puts his head down and dribbles 94 feet. Matt Meyer has been standing in the lane for like 8 seconds and just gets plowed right through the chest. I mean, he wanted no part of the ball. You could see he was like, I cannot fathom that I'm in the game facing this right now, when it looked like I'd probably have to play the last 4 minutes of this game up 25 points. It was a crazy game. It was crazy.
So are you a believer, before we get to some of these Sweet 16 matchups, are you now a believer of Carolina, or are you like, hey, they built up such a lead, and it was a little fraudulent against a Baylor team that is so short right now in terms of
their game plan was really good. They were going to make Baylor prove it from 3, and without LJ Cryer, they can't. Yeah. They don't have the shooting. They're playing off James Akinjo 4 or 5 feet. You look at their help defense, they were at the boxes and the elbows, just waiting to stop the ball. UCLA will be they'll be a different deal. Jaquez's injury is interesting to me. I think Carolina can give them a good game, but I'm not as sold. I think a lot of that was Baylor was so banged up. I really do.
Me too. I mean, again, Flagler, Akinjo hasn't been the same. Really,
let me ask you this.
3rd-team
All-American was surprising to me, just because I get that Baylor won the league and they had a really good year again, but his percentages are so low.
Terrible.
Especially the last 15 games of the year. He did not shoot the ball well.
Couldn't make a shot.
And look, you lead the Big 12 in assists. You're on a team that wins the league. I get it, but you compare his numbers to Ochai Abaji's or some of the other first-team guys, and I know he's third team, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a drop off, but I was surprised that he was a third team All-American.
Are you worried about the Peacocks against your alma mater?
Am I worried about him?
Yeah. I mean, like, this is the year for Purdue. I mean, look at the road now, Rob.
No, you asked
look
if
at
I
the
was
road.
worried about the Peacocks. Am I worried about Purdue or am I worried about St. Mary's?
You know, you're worried about St. Peter's, not St. Mary's.
Or that's what I meant. I meant St. Peter's. No disrespect to the Peacocks. I meant St. Peter's.
Can't believe you can't even get their name right.
No, shut up. I think it'll be interesting. I didn't get to watch them. They were on at the same time as we were, so I have not seen them. So I guess I'll ask you. They were able to handle Sheboy, but does Purdue's ability to play in the half court change the type of game it's going to be?
Yeah, I just think Jaden Ivey's got to be the difference here. You know, he's so big, strong, athletic, and again, like the shots he made at the end of that
major
game.
League shots, the step back
threes.
And
yeah, like
who
saw that coming, Rob? Who, if I had told you that at the beginning in the preseason this year, that
he'd shoot shots like that. All right. Yeah. I mean, I thought he'd shoot it better from three because he finished the year last year strong, but you're talking about a step back three on a good defender in Courtney Ramey, and he left him. He got sent almost to the baseline. I mean, he wasn't even close to contesting that shot.
Nope.
That's an All-American move. That's a pro. I mean, that's what he is.
That's a difference maker is what that is. Like, for all we talked about the bigs of Purdue, ultimately the difference maker is Jaden Ivey, because you can give him the ball, game on the line, and trust him now. Where that was the biggest question early in the season. Even when we saw him in November, it was like, all right, he did it, but like, can you trust him in the half court now? Like, you knew you could trust him in transition.
Yeah.
But now I think you can trust him in the half court. And
you know who I think sorry, go ahead, finish.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Who I think the X factor is Sasha Stefanovic. They have got to find him some better looks, and he's got to make some shots. That certainly is something where they've been missing a piece, I would say. I thought Ethan Morton gave just phenomenal minutes. Kept Marcus Carter to his left hand, made big shots from three. He was really, really good. But I think for Purdue to reach their potential, yes, you need Jaden Ivey playing at the level he's been. You need Travion Williams and Zach Edey to do their thing. The X factor for Purdue to me is Sasha. If he makes shots, they can get to the Final Four and make it to Monday night. If he doesn't,
they can outscore anybody if he makes shots.
And look, they've been better defensively over the last 7, 8, 9 games of the season. They have. They lost those games end of the year, not because of defense, because they couldn't score.
Right.
Michigan State's like 63-61. Wisconsin, they're in the 60s. Their defense has been much better. I just think you've got to find a way to get Sasha Stefanovic involved and making shots from the perimeter.
All right, what is the matchup that you are dying to see, even if it's not one in Chicago? I know both of us are going to be in Chicago, which is probably the worst of all the 4 regions in terms of matchups.
I've got 2 games. Can I give 2?
Yeah, you give 2. What are the 2?
All right, I'll go Arizona, Houston. I would have Houston advancing against almost anybody in this tournament except for Arizona. But that's not to be said.
It's because of Kirk Kriisa, right?
Dude, how about Kriisa shooting 3 in a row? I'm like, bro, and it worked out. I mean, Matherin gets the offensive rebound. I could not believe he took 3 of those shots. He's 1 for 10.
He has no conscience, 0 conscience, 0 understanding.
I had that, man. That is a gift. That is a gift from God,
isn't it? And
really
at the end of the game, it's not like he ever apologized to like Tommy Lloyd of like, hey, my dumbass took those shots.
Hey,
I'm
my
sorry,
bad, coach. I just was feeling it, even though I'm
None
1
of
of 7.
Right.
No, that was. I was laughing. I was sitting on the couch. I just gotten home. It was hilarious to watch. It was so funny to watch him do that. And then I'll go Duke, Texas Tech. I think is about to be a battle. Yeah, that's going to be an awesome game.
Yep, I would agree with that. I kind of agree with both those. I think those are your, the Kansas Providence game could be really fun. I agree.
It's honestly, you said Chicago's going to be the worst, but I think Kansas Providence has a chance, even though I think really highly of Kansas. And Iowa State, Miami should be a close game. I just think it doesn't have the maybe appeal of what Auburn, Wisconsin would have, or, the star power that those games.
Well, you know what? I mean, the problem there is you're looking at that game and just saying to yourself, like, all right, like those two teams can't win at all. Like, I hate when you're in the Sweet 16 and you're looking at two teams and you're saying, like, all right, maybe they could win another game, whoever wins this game, and get to the Final Four. But neither of them has, you almost don't want to see them going deep, because then it becomes a shitty Final Four or national title game if you have one of Miami or Iowa State, plain and simple.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
Whereas
every other game I feel like has teams where you're like, yeah, they could.
Right.
They could win the whole
I
thing.
mean, like, obviously Gonzaga, Arkansas, both of them, but Gonzaga for sure. Texas Tech, Duke, we know. Carolina, UCLA, Purdue, Arizona, Houston, Villanova. I don't think Michigan can win the whole thing, but Villanova, listen, I've said it. I've said this for 2 months. Do not count out the Villanova Wildcats from winning another one.
Hey, was it Doster that said that Purdue couldn't beat Yale? Is that right?
Probably. I mean, it sounds like something he would say.
God, did he watch the games all year?
I don't think so. I mean, I honestly don't know what he does, but probably not. All right. So that's those are your for me, it's probably Texas Tech, Duke. Just because the defense against the offense, two older coaches, one who's a rookie, one who's on his way out.
And then also old team, young team too. I mean, you're looking
old
at
team, young team.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting.
A lot of good storylines, I think, in that one. All right. So your biggest upset.
The problem with this for me is that because of who I picked in the Final Four, the only upset that I can really have is Texas Tech beating Duke, which I'm guessing by Vegas is not an upset, but by seed is.
Texas Tech is a favorite according to Vegas. Are you surprised at that?
Not really. No.
Why not?
I don't think
it's Duke. But
no, I know, but I think just the toughness that Texas Tech has, the coaching ability of Mark Adams.
Yeah,
I think they are one of those two, much like Houston. I'm looking at Houston. I'm like, man, you give Kelvin Sampson a couple days to game plan for you. What they did to Illinois. Oh my. And look, the hanging on the rim tech was awful, but that's not why Illinois lost.
Didn't matter.
It
didn't matter.
It was a big call in the game, and they need to look at the rule and just be like, look, we'll take this out.
Yeah.
You can't be doing chin-ups, but if you hang on the rim and want to do that, fine. But the way that they defended them, to me, it looked like Illinois is one of those teams that preaches being tough. Houston is tough. They are tough as nails. Not that Illinois doesn't have some tough guys, because they do. Trent Frazier, some of those guys I would certainly qualify as tough, but Houston is the epitome of that toughness.
So it's so funny. I mean, Vegas just literally goes by Ken Pom, because you're looking at a Texas Tech. Ken Pom.
They're second in Ken Pom, right?
And he's got them winning by 1. So what's the spread? 1.5, I think there. And he's got Houston beating Arizona by 1. And I think that spread also is like 1.5. So
Houston's favored.
Maybe is Arizona favored in this?
There's
one?
No way Houston's favored.
Hold on, let me look. Maybe it's Arizona favored by 1. Hold on, I'm gonna look right now. Arizona's favored by 1. You're right. So a little bit of a difference there. But for the most part, I think, again, if you weren't going by the metrics, most people would think Arizona was like a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, I would have thought that
game.
Having not looked at Ken Pom.
Right. Well, but you look at Ken Pom because you love Ken Pom.
It is a great website.
It is a great tool. It's a great predictive tool is what it is.
Today's episode of the Goodman and Hummel podcast is sponsored by Honey, the easiest way to save money when shopping on your phone or your computer. Have you ever been in this spot? You're shopping for something online, you get to checkout, and when it asks for a promo code, you start Googling trying to find a way to save some money. Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past, because Honey is the free tool that scours the internet for you and finds the one that best fits your cart. Here's how it works. You're shopping. You check out. The Honey button pops up. You click apply coupons. You wait a few seconds. You watch the price you pay go down. So if you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. By getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. I'd never recommend something I don't use. Get money for free at joinhoney.com/March Madness. That's joinhoney.com/March Madness.
All right, what should we do? You want to go through some of these coaching hires?
Yeah, let's do that.
And we're going to grade them. We're going to do something nobody else does, Rob. We are going to grade some of these hires. I'm going to.
How strict of a grader do you think you are? I think you're going to be a lot stricter than I am.
I'm holding you accountable for this. Like, I'm writing them down and we're going to look in 4 years when
There's
you're
no way you're
unemployed.
holding on to that paper for 4 years.
I'm going to put it up on my wall and keep it for 4 years. And when you're unemployed,
we'll see if
we're
Field
gonna-
of 68 retains me. I mean, who knows? I might not even be back next year.
Well, it's a year by year deal. I mean,
You
you're
guys run
on
a
like
tight
an
ship
interim.
here.
It's like an interim deal for you. So
Yeah, I know.
You still got to prove a little bit more. I mean, taking last week off, boy, that was not a smart move for your career path.
I hope I get fired. I really hope that they just fire me.
I don't know if your pocketbook can, your wallet can handle that.
That's true.
All right. Let's start with what was the biggest one of the cycle? Well, let's start with Florida. Let's start with Florida and Todd Golden. Okay. So Todd Golden comes over to Gainesville. Scott Strickland's the AD there, former Kentucky SID. Jay Jacobs, the senior associate AD, was the AD at Auburn when Todd Golden was there working for Bruce Pearl for a couple of years. Todd's done a great job at San Francisco, got him in the tournament this year. 30, I don't know how old he is. He's like your age, Rob, right? He's 33, 34.
But he's that young.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's that young. They hire him at Florida. Like it, don't like it. Why?
I mean, I like it for the fact that he's got San Francisco relevant for the first time in 30, 40 years that we've really talked about them this year. So I like it for that. I think the fact that he's come up under Pearl has to be a good thing because Bruce Pearl has shown that he can win at the highest level in the sport. So I guess my only issue is that Florida to me is a pretty solid big brand. And when I'm looking at who they hire, think about like the Billy Donovans of the sport. That is a big, those are big shoes to fill, as Mike White found out. So are we grading this or
we're grading this? I want a letter grade.
I'll give the hire a C because I think that while he's done a great job, I just look at Florida as they probably feel like they should get a bigger name.
Yeah, I think they went for the, Billy Donovan. They tried that with Mike White. I thought Mike White did a good job.
Yeah.
Again, got out just in time. The expectations are ridiculous because of Billy Donovan. Florida doesn't invest nearly as much as they should into basketball. I just think Todd Golden doesn't fit in the SEC. That's my biggest concern is he doesn't fit. He's a little bit green when it comes to the NIL thing. Staff is going to be imperative. Like staff will determine whether Todd Golden is successful or not, in my opinion.
That is a lot of jobs, though.
A lot of them.
You'll
You'll hear me say that a bunch here. You will. You'll hear me say that a bunch. I'll give him a C plus at this point. I'll give him a C plus just because, again, I like Golden. I just don't like him in the SEC of Florida that much. If you had hired him at Kansas State, for example, I would have been like, okay, or at the Pac-12, I'm all in. But the SEC is a beast, and I'm not sure Todd Golden's ready for that beast. All right, next, Kenny Payne at Louisville, former Kentucky assistant, former Louisville player, has been with the Knicks and with his boy Leon Rose in Worldwide West for the last couple of years. The most intriguing part for me is going to be who does Worldwide West side with now, John Calipari or Kenny Payne?
Yeah,
but
seriously,
that's a little bit. That's a side note. Kenny Payne, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, by all accounts, an incredible player development guy, big time recruiter. They had 5 number 1 classes at Kentucky when he was the assistant there. He's got relationships with Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Willie Cauley-Stein. I mean, I would say A. I don't see how it's not an A. He's a former player. He brings together, I think, past and present at Louisville at a high level. I think that this is a great hire for Louisville.
Yeah, it's funny. People thought I was hammering the hire when I said Louisville tried for some big boys and they couldn't get them and ended up with Kenny Payne. I wasn't saying I didn't like the hire. I was just saying that was the reality of the situation and the reality of a lot of these jobs, that you're going to swing at Scott Drew. Well, he's not going. Scott Drew is not leaving anywhere Waco for anywhere right now, but no proven coach, Scott Drew, Mick Cronin, whoever, is going to go to a place that there's no permanent AD, there's no president, and they still might be another year postseason ban. So you were going to get a guy like Kenny Payne. You were going to get a mid-major head coach or a guy like Kenny Payne that, frankly, I always said would have walked from Madison Square Garden to the Yum Center for this job. I don't think the interim AD really was dead set on Kenny Payne early. I think he wanted to get a big name. And then when he realized he couldn't, my take was you can't hire Kenny Payne over Matt McMahon. I mean, you can't hire Matt McMahon over Kenny Payne. You obviously, all the former players wanted Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne is a awesome dude. Again, what I'll say is it's going to be interesting now because you're going up, instead of being with John Calipari and selling John Calipari in Kentucky, you're now going up against Cal at Louisville, where you've got some restrictions right now. It's not going to be quite as easy. I would give it a B+ for me. B+. Kevin Willard at Maryland, Rob, comes from Seton Hall, did an incredible job the last 6 or so years at Seton Hall, making him nationally relevant. Didn't win a ton of tournament games, but it's a bitch of a job at Seton Hall.
Yeah,
I don't know if have you been in Newark?
No, well, I've flown to Newark. I've never been to
Yeah.
Seton Hall for a game or been to their facilities, but I
It's
do know
tough.
that he resurrected the program. I mean, what they had before Kevin Willard was there was not good. You mentioned the NCAA tournament games, hasn't had a ton of success. I guess my only issue with the hire is it wasn't Mark Turgeon won a lot at Maryland.
Yeah.
It's all about what his tournament success was. And honestly, Turge, I don't think he totally got a fair shake in the sense that his best team got destroyed by COVID.
Right.
So
Right.
I think Kevin Willard is a really good coach. I think that he's going to do a good job at Maryland, but I don't know how much different the hire is from what you had with Mark Turgeon. So I guess for that, I'll say this is so stupid. B-. Like, whatever.
I love this. I love it because like nobody's ever done this with you before. And you're like, so, I have to do it. I did this every year until about 5 years ago. And then I copped out of it. And I'm like, I'm not.
Well,
doing
it's
this
just
anymore.
like, what makes this a B- versus a B?
I know. It's hard.
I think that Kevin Willard is a really good coach. I just think that he's, I think Mark Turgeon's a good coach too.
Yeah. The difference for me is I don't think Turge fit. I don't think Turge obviously was tough enough to deal with the Maryland fan base and the expectations. Now Willard hasn't had to do it either. Okay, like Seton Hall, he brought him up, but it's not the same. So to me, it's kind of all about momentum at Maryland. And if you get off to a good start, they're going to be behind you. But the moment you don't start winning games in the tournament, they're going to turn on you pretty quick. So I'll give it a B. And I like Willard a lot.
Yeah.
But it's more a B for that job. Like I just feel like the job, you can't satisfy that insane fan base. So I'm going to give it I might even give it a B+, but I'm going to give it a B+ right around there. All right, Georgia.
Make you up your mind.
All right, I'm going B+. I like Willard. I think Willard, because the other thing is I already know some of his staff, and I think he's going to hire a really, really good staff. So that to me is again a difference maker.
Are you saying the dude from Ohio State?
He's good. Tony Skinn is good.
That's who you're talking about?
Yeah. And I think he'll bring Grant Billmeyer with him from Seton Hall, which will be good. Again, the good part of it, I'm kind of a believer in fit a lot of times. Now, sometimes it backfires, like Nate Oates at Alabama. Not a fit. I didn't know if it would work out. Well, Greg Byrne proved me wrong on that one. But I like Kevin Willard because he's already recruited the Northeast.
Yeah.
He's already got recruiting ties. Now, it's not as big a deal with the transfer portal anymore, but even with the bounce back guys in the portal, it helps to have already maybe recruited some of those guys. All right, let's go. Bunch of SEC ones. Let's start with I thought the highest upside SEC one, but one that they were going to have a hard time getting somebody big because they might have a 2-year postseason ban after cutting ties with good old Willie Wade over there. And that is LSU hiring Murray State head coach Matt McMahon. I don't love it. I got to say, and I like Matt McMahon again, but not in the SEC, not at LSU. Like Trent Johnson went to LSU and tried to play it straight, and playing it straight meant no cheating, and it didn't work out. Matt McMahon's going to go down to LSU and try and play it straight and no cheating. And I'm just afraid the same thing is going to happen at the end of the day. Like Will Wade, look at what he did. He racked up like 42 level ones. Like, it's the way you win down there.
42.
It's the way you win down there.
He's got 42 level ones.
I don't know. That might be selling it short. He might have more than that.
He might have 50.
He might have had 50 level ones. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, McMahon's had a ton of success, but I look at it as Murray State is one of the best mid-major jobs in all of college basketball. You know, it's like I think Dayton is similar, where kind of whoever is there wins.
Yeah.
154 and 67 in 7 seasons, 3 NCAA tournaments. Would have had 4 if it wasn't for COVID.
He's been awesome.
Coach John Morant. So you talk about player development, finding a diamond in the rough. Yeah, that's certainly. I think your point is very valid. He plays good guards and athletic bigs, which I think fits at LSU. But I do agree that, man, it's a different animal down there. So I'll go C.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in agreement, 100% agreement. C there. I just think you also have all the violations that are coming.
Yeah, right.
So like, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to get it done. You know, like I just think it's going to be really hard for him. All right. We got a bunch more to get to, so we're going to move it along quick. This is almost like the carousel grading episode for us. Mike White, he's probably going to get whacked at Florida. Maybe not this year, but next year. Expectations have been ridiculous following Billy Donovan. I thought he did a very good job, all things considered. And he gets out of town, and he doesn't go back to his alma mater at Ole Miss. Instead, he surprises everybody and goes to Athens, where I actually like it in a lot of ways because he follows a guy that couldn't be more different than him. And I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. All right. In a lot of ways, they are polar opposites, Tom Crean and Mike White. Mike White is one of the best human beings in the world, beloved by everybody, except the fan base in Gainesville that again, just wanted more. They wanted Final Fours. And I think that's unrealistic in Gainesville. But Mike White at Georgia, shit, I probably give it an A-. I like it.
I was going B.
Okay.
I think just because of the way it ended, you're hiring a coach that's getting fired from your league.
Yep.
But with that being said, I think the way that the fan base's apathy to Tom Crean at the end, you said it perfectly. They're polar opposites. So you bring in a guy now that is going to, be maybe more substance and less flash, I think you could say.
Yep.
And I think he's a guy that can certainly build something there, and he's been in the league, so he understands it. So I'll go B.
I love this. You're actually like being more critical than I'm giving you a lot of credit here, Rob.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought you'd be handing out A's. I thought you'd be
I gave an A to Louisville.
Like your favorite teacher. I thought you'd just be handing out, like somebody gives you an apple and you're just handing out A's everywhere, all the way around. But you're not. I mean, you're not.
There's no screwing around here in Chicago right now. I'm getting down to business.
You are. All right. Chris Jans goes from New Mexico State to Mississippi State. I was there watching Chris Jans, and shit, they almost pulled up another upset and beat UConn and then beat Arkansas to go to the Sweet 16. Jans was at Bowling Green, got fired for something off the court, went to New Mexico State, has done a really good job there. John Cohen, the AD at Mississippi State, hires him to replace Ben Howland down in Stark Vegas. I love it. I love it. I think this is a perfect fit. Now, again, Mississippi State, when they won at the highest level, it was Slick Rick Stansbury. Now you got some NIL that you got to deal with for Jans. It may take some time, but I love the fit. I think he'll get him to the tournament, maybe 2 tournaments. Once he kind of gets this thing going, I'm giving it an A-.
He's 25 plus wins for the last 5 years. His teams are tough. They play super hard. I agree that he fits in, I think, with kind of the what you need to do to win at Mississippi State. So I'll go B plus.
Okay. All right. That's fair. South Carolina. They replaced Frank Martin with Lamont Paris. They tried Sean Miller. He chose Xavier over South Carolina. There were some other guys that they kind of tried to work after. Ended up getting Lamont Paris, who's been at Chattanooga, took them to the tournament this year. They almost beat Illinois in that first round matchup.
What a great game that was.
Yeah, I think Lamont is kind of, in a similar regard as a Todd Golden and McMahon. I just wonder if there are too many sharks in the SEC. Like, that's my biggest concern. Are there too many sharks? The Cals, the Pearls, the Oatses, the Musselmans, that this group that's been hired. Now, the good thing is there are a bunch that are hired that we're saying that about. So you might be able to finish in the top.
You got the sharks and the minnows.
Pretty much. I think the sharks are going to eat those damn minnows. And I think, honestly, Lamont Paris could be one of those minnows at the end of the day. I'm going to give him the same C+, to be honest, that I gave Todd Golden.
Yeah, I'm going to go C. 87 and 71 in 5 years. He had a good team this year, and certainly Malachi Smith, really good player. Took Silvio De Sosa. Yep. I think the Illinois-Chattanooga game was as bad of a basketball game as I've watched.
Awful.
I mean, if honestly, if Chattanooga was able to make a shot, they would have won.
Yeah.
I don't know. He came up under Bo Ryan, Greg Gard. That's someone good to learn from for sure. Bo won a lot of games. To me, C. I think it's just kind of okay.
All right, we got a couple more here. I think we got 4 more that I want to hit on. Missouri, and the other SEC opening. Conzo Martin, they hired Dennis Gates, went to a tournament a year ago with Cleveland State, won the regular season this year. Has been an assistant. He played at Cal, been an assistant at Florida State, learned from Leonard Hamilton. I actually really liked him in the south of the SEC better than Missouri, to be honest. I would have liked him at LSU. I would have liked him at Florida. I would have liked him at Georgia. Those places, I think he might have killed it.
Wait, why? What is different at Missouri than those places?
Well, I think you got to recruit the Midwest, and he's done it at Cleveland State. I just think he knew the South a little bit better. He had been there longer. He'd been there for 7 years. I thought a lot of the beauty about Dennis Gates is, again, like I said, played in the Pac-12, has coached in the SEC in the South, so recruited
from Chicago.
From Chicago, almost got to Paul last year, and now has been in the Midwest at Cleveland State. So I kind of like that he's been all over the place and established ties. And again, I think when you learn from Leonard, you learn a lot of things about how to get stuff done. And,
what about also the fact that his brother has been at Nebraska and Northwestern in the recruiting in those areas? I assume he'll come with him. I mean, I don't know about that, but I like Dennis Gates at Mizzou. I do. I'm going to give it a B+. I guess my only issue is if Conzo Martin, who I think the world of, I played for Zoe my freshman year as an assistant. If he did not win at Missouri, why will Dennis Gates? I guess that would be my question. I guess I haven't seen
poor Conzo.
Cleveland State.
Hey, poor Conzo, Rob, because I'm telling you, the biggest mistake he made was a mistake every one of us would have made. The same thing when he got hired. What was it?
I have no idea.
Bringing on Michael Porter's father.
Oh, well, and that's an injury. I mean, if those guys stay healthy, it's a different deal.
Right. But he didn't get that momentum. He never got it because of the injuries to both.
But they made the tournament last year. The transfer portal really hurt him.
Yeah.
And honestly, from playing for him, I am shocked that guys left him because I think so highly of Zoe.
Everybody does.
I know. I think he's
I wonder,
the best.
Do you feel like maybe the problem with Conzo these days is
he might be too honest,
too old school, too honest?
I could see that.
Kids don't want to deal with that anymore. They want to get their ass kissed.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's a straight shooter. There's no doubt about that. You always knew where you stood with Coach Martin.
I love Conzo.
I do too. I'm really
him.
sad it didn't work out for him. But yeah, you talked about kind of the pedigree that Dennis Gates has. I just think that this is more of an on the job than anything. So I think this is more of an indictment of Missouri than it is Dennis Gates. I'll go C. I just think that if Zoe couldn't get it done, I wonder who can, because he's from the area. I mean, Konzo's from East St. Louis.
Yes.
When they hired him, I was like, he is going to murder at Missouri.
Kill it. We all did. All right, Xavier, with maybe the biggest surprise. I don't know if surprise. I think it is, because nobody thought Xavier was going to open this year, right? They had such a good team back.
Well, did they open because they knew that? Oh, you're saying just because you thought that they were going to make the tournament?
I thought they were going to be good. Yeah. Everybody did. They were good. The first half of the year, they were terrific. And then they tailspinned it so that Greg Christopher kind of had no choice, but he did it after an NIT win. I mean, who does that? Who fires a guy the day after an NIT win?
Yeah, that's true. That's
so weird. So weird. But they go get Sean Miller, and Sean considered South Carolina and Xavier. And I honestly think it would have been like, well, if one had moved quicker than the other, he would have taken, like, if South Carolina had moved much quicker than Xavier, he would have taken South Carolina, with all the NCAA stuff still kind of looming and not knowing how many games he's going to get hit by the NCAA. But he goes back home to Xavier, and man, I'll tell you what, I don't think you're getting a better hire than this.
Yeah, I think it's the only thing I would say is, does he have a suspension coming because of his NCAA?
He will.
How
he long? Totally will. All right, let's play the game. For argument's sake, let's say it's half the season. Let's say it's 15 games.
I would say it still doesn't matter.
Correct. Does not matter. Doesn't matter at all, ultimately.
Because at the end of the day, you're getting a guy who has proven he can win there, is a really good coach.
And is motivated.
Yeah, and is motivated and has the total backing of anyone from Xavier.
Yep. I give it an A. I give it. And I'm not saying that because we had him on field of 68. Trust me. You know that. Like, but I just think the dude can coach, and now he is super motivated, and he knows Xavier. He knows it's changed. New AD. He doesn't know the AD at all, but the fan base loves him. They're going to welcome him back. What are you giving it?
A as well.
Yeah. All right. We'll go to the other Miller brother. And Archie Miller gets Rhode Island. It'll be the only non-power 5-ish, power 6 that we'll talk about here. Arch goes to Rhode Island, and I'll admit I'm happy for him, because it's not that far for me. It's a good job, crazy fan base. They support the hell out of it, and they ponied up.
Good history of success there.
Dan Hurley had it going a couple of years ago where they were in the top 25.
I was even thinking back to, like, Catino Mobley and Antonio Renstein and those guys. But yeah, they've been good. Or Billy Barron, or
Jimmy Barron, both. Jimmy Barron.
Yes. Sorry.
So I'm going to give Arch. I will give Arch the same A. I'm giving him an A.
I think and just because he won so big at Dayton, got him to the Elite Eight.
Yep.
I think Rhode Island's a similar type job in the same league. I think it's a great hire.
Last one that we'll go through. I don't think I'm missing any. Kansas State hires an assistant. The only two assistants hired were Kenny Payne and Jerome Tang at the high major level. And Payne, again, fit, the alma mater deal. Tang goes to Kansas State, replaces Bruce Weber. I don't like it. I friggin' love it. Like,
I do too.
I absolutely love it. Like,
I mean, he might be the best. He might be one of the best assistant coaches in the country. He is one of the best assistant coaches in the country.
I give it an A. I give it an A. He's going to bring energy. He's older.
He's an awesome guy. He's great to talk to. Yeah, I think it's an A.
I mean, again, he built it. He built that thing at Baylor with Scott Drew from start to finish.
Yeah,
like that is a part that.
And if you watch them, if you watch Baylor, if you're at their games, he's in the huddles, sitting in the chair a lot.
Yes.
I mean, he has a lot of, I don't want to say control, because Scott certainly is the head guy there, but I think Jerome Tang has been given a lot of responsibility. And because of that, I feel like he's incredibly ready. He's passed on a ton of jobs. So I'm happy for him. I think he deserves his opportunity to do it. And I think, it's great that he gets to start in a league that he knows so well.
How about this? C's or below. What'd you give Tang, an A?
Yep.
All right. So C's or below. You gave 4 C's. Me, C's or below. I gave one C, two C pluses and a C. You were the tougher grader today.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect nothing less. You're soft, so
wow, this is like the surprise of the century.
No, it's not. It's not that. And plus, C isn't bad. I mean, it's like we're giving out D's and F's around here.
I don't think there were any bad hires. I don't think you could say that. Like there was no like
more. There's some fits that you would question. That would be a better.
Yes, I think all these guys were kind of deserving. I just don't know. Again, in the SEC, that my C's were all in the SEC. McMahon, Golden, Lamont Paris were all guys that I just don't know are built.
The Sharks and the Minnows. That's the main takeaway of today.
Yeah, that's the tweet is the Sharks and the Minnows. And right now, Todd Golden, Matt McMahon, Lamont Paris, you're a minnow. You're all minnows. We got that. All right. Before we go, and we'll do it next week when we actually see each other well, we saw each other recently. We've seen each other a couple of times.
Yeah, I got you a shrimp cocktail. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, that's true.
I went above and beyond for this podcast.
You did. You actually did. It was a little warm, but it still was good.
Yeah. Okay.
You didn't bring the ice. I told you to bring the damn ice.
I got the food. I went back to the hotel and they didn't have any ice. So I don't know.
Well, they don't have ice down the hallway. Don't you know how to get your own damn ice?
Dude, I had a game that night. I wasn't worried about delivering you a chilled shrimp cocktail. You're like Urban Meyer. You're demanding so much of me, threatening me with getting fired. You're like Urban.
It was very good. I appreciate it. I might return the favor this week in Chicago, although you got it pretty easy. You're staying at your house.
Yeah, thank God. It's nice to actually be at home.
And then you go to New Orleans. We'll talk about this next week, and you get to do your 3-on-3 stuff where you get paid millions of dollars to call 3-on-3 games.
Will you come on? Last year,
if you want me, I'll come. I will. I think I'll come on with you. I don't want to come on and if I'm coming there, I'm coming on with you and we're sitting there and I'll rip on Titus a little bit. I'll do that.
Renewed from last year's Brad Stevens hiring.
My God. Remember how brutal he was then?
You guys still are beefing over it, I think.
Because he probably thinks Butler, if they make a move, they're going to get Brad.
They might. You never know. He might be unhappy as the GM of the Celtics.
All right. Give me your – by the way, I'll give you a quick Brad story. I'm coming back from – I don't even know if he'd want me to tell this, but whatever. Coming back, we're in the airport. I went Big East to Big Ten, and I'm flying to Vegas. It was last Saturday morning. So I'm going to the Mountain West that
You had an early flight, right?
Early flight after I saw you. So we're flying out and I see Brad going through security and we walked down. He was like, there was a long line at Starbucks. He's like, I got a place for you. Go down the other end. There's another place for coffee. So we walked down and some dude in the line, a kid, an Indiana student, recognizes both of us. And he starts asking some questions. And the best part is one of the questions he asked Brad was about Trace Jackson Davis. And he's like, what do you think of Trace and this and that? And Brad, being Brad, just says to him, hey, I'm sorry. I can't talk about Trace.
Yeah, we might draft him or he's in the
– like most GMs would have said, like, whatever. They would have talked about him because, again, the kid's not going to quote him or anything like that. But it's so Brad. And I don't know if I've ever told you this story years ago when we were in Vegas, and I had known Brad a long time at this point. We get out of the car at the same time in Vegas for an AAU tournament. Out of the parking lot, there's like a million cars in there. We get out at the same time. We're walking in for the game, and I see Brad, and they had just gotten a commitment from a kid that morning. So we get out, and I'm just trying to make small talk, and I'm like, "Hey, Brad, I saw you got this guard. What's he like?" And he's like, "Hey, Jeff, I'm sorry. We haven't signed him yet. I can't." And I'm like, "It's just you and me. Like, there's nobody else in this."
Yeah, you know what that
parking
means?
Lot.
He thought you were going to be the feds and snitch on him. That's what that means.
So yeah, Brad, as class as it gets, as by the book as it gets, and then of course he pays for the kids' coffee.
Oh, that was nice of him. That's sweet.
Yes.
Is it naive of me to say that I am a little surprised that he was flying commercial? I mean, do a lot of GMs fly I would think honestly that the GM of an NBA team would fly private a lot.
I'll give you a better one. Coming back from the combine a few years ago in Chicago, we're both on Southwest from Midway, flying back to Boston. Not only he's flying Southwest, he's not even in the A's. He's not even in the front of Southwest. They didn't even get him the damn $15, whatever it is, the save speed lane or whatever the hell it's called. How about that?
That is crazy.
This dude is as regular of a guy.
I know he is. I would think that part of the job would be, we don't want random fans just coming up to you saying, what do you think of Trace Jackson Davis? So we fly you private.
No, he's not like you. He doesn't request first class or any of these things. He doesn't.
Okay.
Like he's not.
You won't even pay for me to change my flight to stay in New Orleans to work for this thing.
We don't trust that you're actually going to show up.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We feel like you're going to be worn out from all the 3-on-3 stuff. You're going to be tired. It's the end of the year. You're going to mail it in. You would just mail it.
I got a tea time on Monday. So
see, we know where you'd rather be.
Hey, I will say though, if Purdue is playing in the national championship game, I will be changing my flight, because you know where I'll be staying. Maybe in your room, or someone's room.
That might work. I don't know. Do you snore?
No,
I do.
I don't know.
I snore loud as shit.
Then
so you probably don't want to stay in my room.
I will find my own accommodations, even if they're $1,700 a night.
It doesn't matter.
I will.
No, by then it's easy, because a lot of
people
schools,
leave.
Right.
They clear out.
Right. Yes.
So there's a dearth of hotel rooms. All right.
You can find something. By the way, can I give you another story? I'm not going to reveal the identity of this player. Last time I was in New Orleans, it's for the NBA All-Star game. And I was covering the NBA then for, it was a 1 year I covered both NBA and college for ESPN. So they sent me down there and I had to do early morning Sports Center every day. Like early morning means like
5 a.m.
I think it was 6 a.m. What would have been New Orleans time for the 6 a.m.? Might have been like go on at 6 a.m. or 5, but I had to get up at the crack of dawn. I'm like up and out at like 4:30 or something like that. So I'm walking to wherever we filmed it. I can't even remember. It was outside. No, it was inside. And I'm walking to the arena where we shot the Sports Center in the morning. And all of a sudden I see a player, an NBA player, walking arm in arm with two girls he had picked up, walking in as I'm walking out of the hotel. And again, I'm not going to say who it was. And
New Orleans is a good time in the NBA because the casino's there.
Yeah.
I will say we went to that Harrah's the night before we played the Pelicans one night. We were playing blackjack. I was playing with someone.
Okay. You're not going to say who?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want to. And we're playing blackjack.
Did I guess?
No, you can't.
Ricky
You'll never
Rubio.
guess this.
Ricky Rubio.
What's that?
I guess everything that you did bad when you were in the NBA, my guess is Ricky Rubio for everything.
No, Ricky is a great guy. Great teammate. He's one of the best people you can play with in the NBA. But we are sitting there and this player was not good at math. So we're playing blackjack and literally the dealer would be throwing cards out and he'd be like 21. And the dealer would be like, sir, you have 24. Or like, he'd be like, oh, I busted. They were like, sir, you have 20. Like it was not a good game for him because he was not good mathematically, but it was really funny to watch. It was hilarious.
So are you and I going to play blackjack or no? You won't have time.
If I have time, I got to work. You go to these places and hang out.
Yes.
I do not have that luxury. I'm not lucky like you. I don't make the big bucks.
Unbelievable.
3x3
bringing my daughter.
Is an awesome event, but it is long. It's like 11 to 11 the first day.
Yeah.
I think it's shorter the second day.
It's a grind for you.
It is. It's
been a year of the grind. That's what I like for Robbie Hummel. It's been the year of the grind because you have never worked like this before, ever.
No.
In your life.
This has been the toughest year from a workload, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm happy that they want me to do the games, but it's been a lot. Yeah.
Is it harder than the 3.5 hour Matt Painter practices?
Those were a grind too. I think also, Coach Painter was tough, but he, as the time went on, he eased up on the 3.5 hour, 3 hour deals.
I just remember going and literally, Rob, I'm like, can we be done? Like at some point, and I can only imagine what you were thinking as a player, because I went to, a couple a year maybe, and I'm like, really? Like, we're gonna keep, and then I go, because a lot of times I go from Purdue to Butler, and literally I go see yours 3.5 hours or 3+ hours, and then you go to Butler, and I'm not kidding. You know how long Brad Stevens' practices were at Butler?
How long?
An hour and 15.
That's insane. Though, I will say Coach Paint was trying to build a program and a culture. And, I think when you look at that, when these coaches are first starting out, like all the guys that we just graded, you were trying to hold on to your job for as long as you possibly can. So I understand why it's like, dude, if we're not practicing for the full allotment, we're not getting any better. And we had a young team, and I think there's a lot of guys that look at that. Now, the game has also changed. The transfer portal makes it a different animal. There'd be guys be like, I'm not practicing for 3 hours.
Hey, before we go, and we'll do our quick Final Four and national championship predictions before we go, and then we'll do it again next week with national championship prediction. Can you tell the story of when you thought Paint might be going to Missouri? Do you remember that vividly?
Oh, yeah. I had a final. I had an econ final. This class was so freaking hard. It was one of those business classes I had, and I hate econ. So I actually asked if I was such a disaster that I asked the professor if I could have the final a couple of days later, because I was distraught.
Oh, come on.
I swear to God.
Really?
I swear to God I did. I was like, I cannot take this test. I'm a mess. That might not even, maybe I don't know if that's, but he was really understanding. Like, I got you. That's fine. So I called Coach Painter at least every other day, maybe more. And I was like, I've already had to stick around, and Etwan Moore's gone. Juwan Johnson is gone. Keaton Grant's gone. Chris Kramer's gone. I have no idea if these phone calls affected his decision, but I was like, I'm not letting this guy leave either without me voicing how much he needs to stay. Because but I also will say, and you can back this up, I texted you and I was like, dude, if he leaves, Conzo Martin just signed, I think he was just at Tennessee. He's not coming back. They're probably not giving Paul Luss the job, who I love and I would have stayed for in a heartbeat. But I was like, I'm not sticking around I will leave. I was so mad at Purdue.
Oh, I remember.
Because I felt like they were not doing everything. Now, they stepped up to the plate, and they did, but I was pissed that
so
if
you
they're
could
going to let him walk,
you could have played your 8th year at Duke and not Purdue.
I could have, or wherever. I don't know who would have had me, and I certainly was damaged goods at the time, but I was so mad at Purdue's athletic department because I didn't feel like it, and I will say this. I trusted Coach Paint to the point where I was thinking, if he feels like they're not supporting the program, then they're not supporting the program.
Right.
And if they're not going to pay him, and it wasn't even more so for him, it was for his assistants. Rick Wright left to go to Clemson.
Right.
And I wouldn't say that's a step up,
No. And so Paint leaving for Missouri is
and that
most
too,
people.
I could understand if he was like, hey, Kansas is calling,
totally.
or Duke or Carolina or a blue blood,
or Arizona, Rob.
Right. Arizona, or even certain programs that just have crazy football, money, where it's like, hey, you can really win big here.
So when did he tell you? Did he call you and tell you he was staying? Do you remember?
I actually don't remember. I don't remember how I found out, but I know for a fact that I was a pest. I was on him, but I was a disaster. Like I really felt like, man, if he leaves, there will be no one left from when I was here as a freshman or sophomore or junior. It was like, how much has this changed in time from when I blew my knee out to now?
It affects kids. I guess that's the part we forget about is all the players in these programs.
I was a mess. I really was
affected by it. Now you were there for, again, 7 years, so it's a little bit different. The bond you had with Paint.
5 years.
But
think about this. We've got guys that are playing in the NCAA tournament in this tournament that have played in like 170 games. I played in less games than some guys do that play for 4 years.
Well, that was only because you were hurt all the time.
Not all the time. I I missed the last 8 games of my junior year and like 2 my sophomore year. So, but everybody talks about how, he played a million. No, I didn't. I played the same amount of games as anybody that stays for 4 years. And haters like you are the reason that narrative is out there.
Yes, because you know what? And I'm going to keep preaching that narrative.
And you're going to keep spreading this false information.
Hell yeah. At the end of the day, people are going to, when the question is asked, who played the most games? Who was the oldest player ever to play in college basketball?
Some will say
the
Brad
first
Davison.
answer.
Jeff will say me. Terrific.
Yes. No, I'm going to say you every time. Only because, again, the more I speak it into existence, the more other people are going to believe it.
You know what's
I don't
sad?
care if it's true.
There's a lot of probably up and coming writers and podcasters that look at you and are like, man, Jeff is a good person for me to emulate. And I would say to them, no, he is not.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You're probably right. All right. And with that, our final 4, our national title picks going into the Sweet 16. I don't remember, who did you for your final 4 national title before the tournament started? Do you remember who you had?
I had Arizona winning it all.
Yeah.
I had Kentucky in there. Not good.
Me too. Yep. Me too.
I had Texas Tech in there, which could be good.
No, you didn't. You had Texas Tech and not Gonzaga?
Oh, wait. Are you talking about before
final 4? Before it started. Who'd you have?
Yeah. So I filled out one bracket. So you're not saying before the season. You're saying before the tournament.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't send you anything, I don't think.
No, you might not have.
Okay.
Maybe
so I had Texas Tech.
Wow.
I had Kentucky.
Yep.
I had. Wait, hold on.
You had
Let me
Arizona.
make sure this is right.
Arizona.
I had Arizona for sure.
Yep. Kansas.
And I think I had Kansas, but that's. Let me double check that.
I had Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Gonzaga. So I'm already out too.
All right, hold on. I've got this right here. So my final 4 on the bracket that I did. Yeah, it was Texas Tech, Kentucky, Arizona, and Kansas.
All right, so you're in good shape. You got 3 of the 4 left. That's not bad. Give me your revised now.
I'm going Kansas, Texas Tech, Purdue, and Arizona.
So you're switching now. Okay. I will go Gonzaga, Arizona, Kansas, Purdue. And then who do you have winning it all?
Arizona.
Championship game.
I'm staying with Arizona.
Arizona beating Purdue.
Who
Texas
would Purdue
Tech.
play?
Purdue's got to play Texas Tech.
Yeah, Arizona beats Purdue.
All right, I have Gonzaga beating Kansas. There you have it. All right, stick around. Next week, we will be back. I don't know from where. Where would we be? We'll be in New Orleans, but we may end up doing this probably Monday or Tuesday from home before we. I know you're going to be busy in New Orleans, so I don't want to bother you while you're, doing your big 3-on-3 stuff. But we can promote that.
If Field of 68 would pay me more, I wouldn't have to do all this stuff.
Well, listen, you got to negotiate in your contract next year. Talk to Doster. That's all his deal. So
you guys are.
Thanks for joining us again, Jeff Goodman, Robbie Hummel. We'll see you next week.